So, this is already off to a rough start. Because I forgot to soften the neck. So, that's what I'm getting ready to do right now. I've already messed up on that. So, poor Draculara. Alright. The water is hot. Here we go. What are you doing with your Tuesday afternoon? I don't know. Dunking dolls' heads in water, trying to get them soft so I can remove them from their body. What about you? Okay, so we have her mostly off. Squeeze out some of the water, and haha! She has been successfully separated from her body. I'm not doing... Okay, we're not going to reroot, because I'm not going to do doll hair. I'm going to try to do wax instead of yarn. So, you take your doll, and you chop all the hair off, right? Chop it off, okay? And you try to remove as much of it as you can, and I should have put on the light over here for better lighting. This video was definitely not planned, if you can tell. Hopefully the fan isn't too loud, because it is hot. So I'm basically giving her a reroot, which means I'm cutting all the hair off. Now, oh, cool. Don't have to worry about that. So here's what's left of her hair. Now, we begin the arduous process of pulling out the hair. I may do a trick where you cut down the hole now that the neck peg isn't in there. You do a little slit down the middle, and you remove the hair from there. We'll see how well this one goes first. Yeah, that's where we are. Now, do I have an actual concept for her? No. I'm just getting her ready for whatever I have in mind. Yeah. This is gonna go great! Okay, so, oh, I guess it's lit up from my headlamp. Anyway, here's where we are. I had to do the slit in the head trick, which I'm gonna close up with clay once we get to that point. I had to get out the bigger scissor, the bigger needle nose, and those, and I've already cut off her ears. So yeah, we're moving right along, so far. So here she is. All of that was in here. So now I'm gonna go in and wipe her down with acetone to clean off the factory paint and the dirt. Then I'll go back and attach the seam for her head, and we'll continue from there. Hello. Okay, stop being weird, Chris. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm taking pure acetone, and I'm gonna be taking off the factory paint. Now, I recommend that you use the purest acetone that you can. You can use nail polish remover, but in my experience the acetone works better. So let me get some acetone up on the Q-tip, and now we're gonna start scrubbing at her eyes. As you can see, the paint is coming right up, so no problems there. One of the things I did notice though was that you definitely need to probably use more Q-tips than you're planning to use for the project. As you can kind of see, I literally just smudged her eye makeup really, really bad. So now I'm going back with the Q-tip and I am cleaning off the lips. There we go. And now I'm taking a cotton ball that I'm soaking in acetone also, and I'm using the cotton ball to wipe off the rest of the acetone. Or I guess the rest of the paint. There we go. I used probably a little more than I needed to, but you know what? I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I wanted to make doubly sure that I got off everything that I could. And now I am taking off the paint on her head, which that turned out to be a tiny bit trickier than I had originally intended, but you know what? You work with what you got. Okay. There we go. Alright, so, you know, do your best to try to get the paint off. I went ahead and used a second Q-tip, cotton ball, dipped one more time in the acetone, just to be safe, because I wanted to make sure that I also got off any dirt or oils from my hands, because right now I don't have gloves, so there's that. Now, if you thought the Monster High doll looks creepy, you know, without any hair, you should see them without any makeup or anything like that, because, woof, it looks just a little strange. Alright, doing some finishing touches here. Looks like she's almost ready, and there she is. Alright. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I am removing her hands from her arms, and I am gonna go ahead and cut off the webbing between her fingers on her hands with an X-Acto blade. Now, the reason I'm cutting the webbing off is because I want her to look like she has, you know, fairly normal-ish hands. I had every intention of going back and kind of sanding out some of the knobbly bits, but in the end it actually kind of ended up working out for her character, so I can't really complain there. Now, I recommend that you try to do this as carefully as you possibly can because, you know, sharp, pointy blades and the like. I also recommend having something that's got a little more grip to help you pull off the pieces. I used a pair of needle nose pliers, which ended up being super duper helpful there. So yeah, after I do all this, I'll move on to working on sculpting her head, I believe. Alright, so I have successfully cleaned her up, used super glue to close up her head. I've shaved the web off her hands and her arms, and now we are getting to a part I'm a little nervous about, which is sculpting. Now, I'm not planning to do anything super duper exciting because I'm gonna be painting everything over, but I want to make her some goblin ears and maybe make her hands a little more claw-like, and we'll go from there. But yeah, here we go. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm adding the initial sculpting to her head. Now, as you can see, I've already put some sculpting on the back of her skull, and now I'm using my finger and a little bit of, well, spit, to be honest with you, because I didn't think about grabbing water, to blend in the piece I'm using for her brow, because I wanted to make her, you know, as an orc or a goblin, her brow should be a little more pronounced. And I also, later on, once we get to that point, yeah, it's taking a lot more smoothing than I thought. This is the first time I'm working with paper clay, and actually I really love it. It's super moldable. It dries really strong, which is great. The only issue that I kind of run into is that it will dry out quickly if you're not working with it as quickly and efficiently as possible. So that was a bit of an issue. Now here, I believe I am adding, I am adding a strip of clay to kind of make her chin a little more pronounced and a little more pointy, so that way we have a little bit of an underbite or an overbite, I guess, for when we will be adding some more stuff. So yeah, we're just gonna keep plugging along with sculpting the head and see where we go. So, here we are moving on to some of the sculpting. As you can see, I've already done her ears, her forehead, the larger part of her head, and I've already also done her nose. Now I'm going to be working on the eye sockets, I believe. Yeah, that's what we're doing. One of the other things I'll point out about working with paper clay is kind of make sure you have a cleaner surface that you're working on. I should have done that, and some of the clay got a little smudged and kind of gross looking, but since I ended up sanding the head down to paint it anyway, it really wasn't too much of an issue. But if you're trying to keep things clean, just something to keep in mind. Now, I should have also been working on a stand or had her head like on some kind of stand to help with sculpting, because she did keep rolling around, as you can see. Now, I think I'm using 2 smaller strips of clay to make the eye sockets, which makes the most sense. And then you put the eyeball in the middle, or I think you can also put the eyeball in the socket if you're not using the eyeballs that the doll originally came with, or you're not making your own out of something else. You literally just go in and you make a ball, and you put 2 strips around it, and then smooth and blend those strips into the rest of the face to create a really nice eye socket. Let's see. And again, I'm using spit. I probably should have gone and gotten a little thing of water to help smooth and blend things a little more. But you know, like they say, hindsight is 20/20. So yeah. I really enjoyed sculpting her head because it gave me an opportunity to express my creativity, and because I was doing an original character instead of a doll based off of an already created character, I didn't necessarily feel like I didn't feel that pressure of making sure it looked right. I kind of got to play with my own ideas and the like, and it was really enjoyable. So we're gonna keep sculpting her face and adding more details. Alright, so here I was actually smart, and I went and got a cup of water so I could use it to smooth down the details and make her look a little more finished. As you can also see, I realized that I kind of wanted to do something a little different with the brow shape. I'm not sure if I do it in this clip or if I go back and fix it later. And as you can also see where I was talking about trying to use a cleaner surface. Now, in this, you'll see that she has tusks. Her final design did not end up keeping the tusks, only because, they fell off, and I had originally planned to remake them with Sculpey and then glue them on, but I decided that she still looked okay without the tusks. So maybe if I go back and make another version of her, or if I make a boy version, I will go back and add the tusks. But right now I'm just smoothing out some of the lines and trying to make sure that everything looks pretty good. The nice thing again about paper clay is that it does blend really well, which is helpful. I'm definitely going to need to pick up some sculpting tools just so I can make sure that things look a little bit more clean and a little bit nicer when I do sculpting work for dolls. But yeah, so far she's looking really good, and I'm really quite happy with where she's going, which makes me happy. And there she is, sitting, waiting for the rest of her life to begin, I guess. So here she is. I have her in the bedroom with me because I am afraid if I leave her out of my sight, something will happen. So, I have a goblin head sitting on my desk. Yep.